Oh, here we go. What's going on, guys? This is the Experienced Optimist. And today I have a special guest. He's going by the name of TA.
Right.
and today we're going to be talking about how to hack the military to get the most out of the military, to get a good education, how to travel the world, all that good stuff, so you can escape the matrix. So I want to introduce you to TA, and he'll give a little bit about his background and some of his knowledge and wisdom. Go ahead.
All right. Hello everybody. I'm TA today, I guess. Um, I just 6 years. I did 6 years active duty military. Um, at the active duty military, I entered into the voc rehab program because of some disabilities that I had leaving the service. I was able to get a master's under that program. Um, then I was able to leave from that, to parlay that into a job actually working for the government. So I got a little bit of knowledge of the disability process, um, you know, and just teaching. I always say, you can always go back to if you have somebody to say, like, I wish I knew this back then, what I know now. I think if you can really help a young person that doesn't know what they really want to do with their life. I wouldn't say that the, the key is necessarily going into college and incurring that debt, just thinking that you're gonna come out of there and guarantee a job. I think that if you go into the military, take advantage of all the, taking advantage of being a veteran after you get out of the military, because being in the military is cool, but once you become a veteran, you can take advantage of these benefits that are out here for you, man. You got the home loan, and like if you really, I mean, like I tell people all the time, if I had a nephew or a cousin that was like 17 or 18 that was great graduate high school, I can really sit down and map out for him his life, and I can put him in position to win. I'm talking about coming out using his GI Bill to purchase his home loan to purchase a duplex, and then getting the money off the rent from that, taking advantage of his educational benefits. While he's in, and then when he's coming out, he's in a position to get a PhD. Just stuff like that. Like I I wish I had somebody that could put me, talk to me like that. So we're here tonight to talk about those type of things, taking advantage of the benefits that you
See, that's beautiful. Because, and let me just first preface by saying, I mean, I'm using the name TA because he wants to keep on low and he works for the government, so we don't want the government coming back and messing up his lifestyle. but
got.
here's the
It's nothing, it's nothing that I'm going to tell you that's illegal.
exactly.
It's nothing that I'm doing is illegal. It's just I just
Yeah.
I just happen to take advantage of every single benefit that I come across, and you got some people that don't want to take advantage of the benefits, and some people that do, and I'm just like, I'm one that likes to educate myself on law and what's in the CFRs. If you're not familiar with the CFRs, I definitely encourage you to get familiar with the CFRs that we have out in these laws that we have, that for veterans.
Well, it's more coming from me, man. Like I was telling him, TA before, I was like, I'm a big believer in Murphy's Law. So anything that bad can happen, yeah, I'm a big believer in that. But the thing is, some of the topics that I want to go over, and I can't stress how much knowledge and wisdom that TA has. He's helped me out in a lot of ways, man, and I really appreciate it. But some of the topics that we're going to go over one, how to maximize your military career so you get to travel, acquire a good education without going into enormous debt, like most people, and how to become a man of principle. Now, number two, we're going to talk about the benefits of travel and why every man should travel in the military. Number three, we're going to talk about how to take advantage of the leadership abilities that the military has to offer. Number four, we're going to talk about how to use the military to develop integrity and become congruent with who you really are. And number 5, finally, we're going to talk about how to make the most out of your disability benefits, excuse me, if you get hurt. So those are the 5 topics that we're going to be covering right now. And now this information is for all men. I want everyone to know that. But I especially want African American men to listen to this information because unfortunately, there are a lot of dream killers in the African American community. And there's a lot of bad advice going around about the military. And me and TA, we're here to talk about that and kind of put a lot of guys on the right track. What do you think, TA?
Yeah, yeah, man. Hey, listen. I mean, I'm listen. Just don't. I don't want anybody to take this as me endorsing or me being an operative for the government and trying to enlist anybody.
Exactly.
Anybody. And let me throw that disclaimer out. But I will tell you this, like I said, if you don't have, everybody doesn't have a wicked jump shot. You know what I'm saying? Everybody doesn't rap. You know what I mean? Everybody don't. I mean, I don't know what y'all doing out here in these streets these days. Everybody's not an entrepreneur that's that wants to get a food truck. You know what I'm saying? Everybody. This is for that young brother that's sitting there, you spinning wheels, and you want to see the world, and you want to get an education, and you want to get a trade for free, and you don't want to have any debt. Because let me tell you, man, debt is the new slavery. Whether you want to sit here and believe it or not, or whatever. Yes, you can use your debt. You can leverage your debt to put yourself in position to win. There are ways to do that, but that's like for another podcast. I think. But debt is the new slavery. So if I'm gonna put you in position to not have any debt, then you can take the route that I took. And like there are jobs in the military. Everybody's not Rambo. You don't have to go out there, killing people and stuff. So
Exactly. Well, that brings me to my first question. See, now you went through the military. You got a master's degree. I think you're about to get some sort of clinician license, right? So you can help others. Well, that leads me to my first question. When we first talked, you explained how a man from an impoverished background can use the military to overtake someone who was born into privileged circumstances. So how would one do this from start to finish?
Well, it'll even the playing field for you, for the people that were born with maybe fairer skin and their parents may have money. The parents have money and may have put money to the side for them to go to school. So they're not graduating from college with $60,000 in debt behind the 8 ball. Because you graduate from college with $40,000 to $50,000 in debt and student loans.
Mm-hmm.
That second week of your graduation, you're getting a letter from the person that was funding your education, and they're going to tell you, hey, listen, we need our bread. You want to do a deferment, and then if you do a deferment because you don't have a job, okay, the payments may stop, but the interest don't. So the interest is just piling on and piling on and piling on. So I know people that have been graduated maybe 20 years ago from college, and they're still paying on the education.
Wait a minute. So if you're a young guy, right? And I think we were talking about this. You said what you want to do first is you want to find out which branch you want to join first, but you just don't want to join willy-nilly, right? You want to have a plan, right? And
I say this because I don't. Please do not take this as the gospel and send your child away to these different branches of service. Like me personally, the only branch, if I was to send my child somewhere, the only branch I probably would send my child, and I have a daughter, so the only place I would send her probably would be the Air Force.
And why is that?
I just like how the Air Force treats their women. They let them still wear makeup a little bit. They still can wear earrings. They're like, and it's like the Air Force is kind of like, I work with them and they're not as brass, because I was in the Army and we was kind of hardcore with the women. We was respectful to them. It was sexual harassment heaven.
Mm-hmm.
The Marines, I definitely wouldn't want my daughter to go in the Marines.
Okay.
But I want my daughter to go in the Air Force or the Coast Guard. Air Force or Coast Guard. But no Navy, no Marines, no Army. Definitely Air Force or Coast. That's what I would want my child to go into.
Okay.
And I would definitely sit down with my child and, okay, listen, we're going to come up with a plan. I'm not going to let you go in and pick any job and do, because they'll have you being a cook or something. You know what I mean? I mean, no disrespect to any of the cooks out there. No disrespect, because you know I was the 88 Mike. I just wanted the shortest AIT. But looking back on what I know now, I would not want to go in there and have an MOS as a cook or a truck driver. I would want to get an MOS in like a radiologist, technician, or like anesthesiologist. Like, these is big money that you got paid to go to these schools. You could have went into the Air Force medical field, Army medical field, and wanted to be an anesthesiologist, and you got that background. Then while you're in, you're also getting your education. So now you have your degree and you have the experience of doing it. And when you come out, you can use your benefits to pay for your master's degree or any other certification you need. Anesthesiologists are making like over $100,000.
You know what's funny about that, TA? And we talked about this briefly. There's a guy whose son I work with, whose son is going into the Air Force, and he picked some sort of security analyst job. Now, coming out of the military, that's a six figures right off the bat.
If he gets security clearance, absolutely.
Exactly. He's going to have to get there's a secret security clearance, and then you have the top secret, which he's going to get the top secret, which, as everyone knows, once you get out of the military, they pay top dollar for that secret clearance. Yeah.
Somebody right now Google how much a top secret security clearance costs for you to pay for yourself out of pocket.
Yeah.
And you already had that because you were in the Air Force. It's like it's so many things that the military opens up for you. Yeah, you're putting your life on the line, but y'all not saying nothing to these brothers that are out here selling drugs, putting their life on the line. You're putting your life on the you're more likely to get something bad happen to you selling drugs than joining the military, but nobody says anything about that. It's gonna be somebody sitting across from somebody right at this Christmas dinner that in your family selling drugs, but you're not gonna say nothing. But you would say, oh man, I wouldn't join the military. You would advise somebody not to join the military, but you wouldn't advise your family member or your friend to stop selling drugs because it's dangerous. Look at the mindset that we have. That's ridiculous.
Exactly. And then not only that, you have people, for example, I went to Air Force Reserve recruiter, and he was telling me about this young kid who had no prospects. He was working at like Safeway or something. Yeah. And then he went into the recruiter telling him what he wanted. Like, he didn't want to do this. He didn't want to do that. This guy pretty much was going nowhere fast, but he wanted to tell the recruiter what he was willing to not do. So it's that type of mentality.
Hey, you know what? If I had the high FC, but now if I'm that brother and I have a high ASVAB score.
Oh yeah, we need to talk about that. Yeah,
if I have a high ASVAB score, you damn right I'm going in there talking shit to the recruiter like, yo, this is what I'm not going to do. You know what I'm saying?
But here's the deal. This guy, he just so basically what happened was his mother dragged him there because his mother knew that he was going to be a loser. The guy didn't even take the ASVAB. So basically, she knew that he was on a path to nowhere. But then this guy wanted the Air Force to bend over backwards for him. But let's talk about the ASVAB. So now you said you would want your daughter to go into the Air Force, right? Now the ASVAB, which is a test that you take similar to the SAT and ACT. Now, what do you want to score on the ASVAB to get the best possible job in the Air Force?
Well, I wasn't in the Air Force. I was in the Army. So, let me think.
I can answer that to be.
I mean, but for the Army jobs, I don't know, man. I don't know.
See, the funny thing about that, I had a buddy who was in the Army. He enjoyed it, but I was in the Air Force, so I'm a little biased. So I know what you need to score. So basically, if you take the ASVAB, you want to score, you want to get up there. You want to get like a 90-something. If you get a 90-something, you are going to be on easy street.
Yeah, you get a 90-something, you're doing something nuclear. Army, you're doing something like you're doing something real high tech. You out Fort Huachuca, like you doing something real serious. Like you doing MI, and I can dig up my my ass. I had a pretty high ASVAB score because they offered me MI, but I wanted I wanted the shortest AIT, so I picked 88 Mike, which was the truck driver, because I never went in thinking this was going to be a career. This was just me getting and get my school paid for and get the hell up out of there. That was always the plan from day one, because I had a year of college before I went into the Army.
Mm-hmm.
So I had already came from like taking tests and finals and shit like that. So it was like, all right, bet this ain't shit. So, you know, that was always the plan. It was always, but I tell people, the geniuses, they've got 20 years ahead already planned out.
Yeah.
Smart man, he thinks 5 years in advance. So I always think 5 years in advance. You know what I mean? Not to disrespect God's plan, but I try to think 5 years in advance. You know what I mean? Like, this is where I want to be at. This is what I want to be doing. This is where I should be at.
Yeah, me too. I mean, the 5 years thing is what I try to do as well. But looking back now in my Air Force career, what I should have done, and we talked about this before, I should have just did the 20 years, got my degree while I was in, traveled all over the world, and then just retired. I'd be retired right now. I'd be over in Brazil. We talked about this, sipping Mai Tais.
Right.
You know what I mean? We talk. So
we did talk about that. That is definitely. I could have did 20 years in the Air Force, and I'm not trying, because y'all. I mean, like, I worked with y'all a couple of times, man.
It was easy. It was easy.
Yeah, we was in Ramstein, and I just couldn't believe that. You know, this dude just come bopping in at like 9 o'clock. Like,
let me break it down to you. Let me break it down for all.
I'm like, yo, dog, you know PT or nothing? Like, yo, I just put my uniform on and go to work, man. I'm like, yo, so what are you going? He's playing solitary the whole day. We got a loading dock, loading up the plane, and he's just in there running reports. I don't even know what he was doing, but he was chilling. And I was like, yo, you know what? I could do this for 20 years. Y'all didn't even pick y'all trays up in the cafeteria. You didn't pick your trays up. Like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah, but here's the deal. I mean, you saw the maids too, right? When we traveled, when we TDY, we had the maids to clean up the room. But so all right, let me break it down. Air Force life. So Air Force life is great. Like I said, if you do get a high score on the ASVAB, after you get that high score in the ASVAB, you want to pick a job that if you get out before 20 years, you're going to be making a ton of money. So when I actually got out before the 20 years, and I got a job in engineering because of my military background. But here's the deal. The apartments in the Air Force are nice. The houses in the Air Force are nice. Why is that? They're nice because the Air Force gets a lot of money from the government. A lot, right? So it goes Air Force, Navy, Army, and the Marines. It seems like that as far as like the money. So the quality of life in the Air Force is really, really good. And if you pick a job that is kind of laid back, and once you get out, you can make good money, you can do that for 20 years, get out at 38, 39, 40, and then hop into another career and then retire from that, like Lockheed or Boeing or something like that. And then you'll be making a ton of money. Wait, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off today.
No, not at all.
So now what were you talking about as far as like getting your degree in the military? How would one go about getting their degree in the military to maximize their benefits?
You get tuition assistance while you're in.
Okay.
You know, I know they pay for a portion, if not all. I know University of Maryland has an online program for veterans. I mean, for soldiers that are in.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's different. That was in when they had that popping when I was in. But I mean, I would take advantage of any educational program that you there's always somewhere on base resources where you can get information about education. You know what I mean? And now you got a lot of online courses and stuff with the computer, man. So you have no excuse for the
man.
To not get your education while you're in. I was taking a couple classes while I was in. But you know, just keep educating yourself. And you should always continue to educate yourself. I wouldn't leave nothing on the table as far as educational benefits.
Okay.
I met people that say, "Hey man, I didn't even use my GI Bill." And I said, "Like, are you serious? You didn't take advantage of your GI Bill, or you got to be kidding me?" You know,
man, I met those guys too, man. But you know what's funny? I went back to get mine because I was gonna go back into the reserves, right? I went back to get my physical, and I met this dude there. It was a brother, man. He was like the nurse assistant or whatever. I don't know what you got, nurse specialist or something.
Yeah.
Come to find out, he was telling me the Air Force had some program to where he could be not a doctor. What's the one where there's a nurse practitioner and there's something else. It's basically a doctor. But so basically it was like a nurse. He was going to become a nurse practitioner. And the Air Force was paying. They had a program that would pay for his education. So in the next couple of years, he was going to be through, and then he could retire in the military or whatever. But he had all his qualifications to where he could get out at that point and become a nurse practitioner. And we all know that those guys make a lot of money. So
yeah, they do.
So what you're saying is absolutely true. Okay. All right. So now your daughter is going into the Air Force. She's scoring high in the ASVAB. She's looking at all the educational benefits or whatever. So she's going to get her degree. Now, talk about why it is important to travel while you're in the military.
It's important to travel while you're in the military because it opens your horizons. And also you realize that it's important for your self-esteem as a black male, especially. You realize that not everybody hates you. You know what I mean? Not everybody looks at you like you're about to steal something all the time. You're actually welcomed in different parts of the country, different parts of the world. So that's why it's important to travel.
That's true.
It'll help with your overall self-esteem as a black man when you travel the world. So
that's the thing.
Why we're special.
Yeah, and that's the thing. What I've noticed as far as traveling as well in the military and beyond, it helps your self-esteem. You find out that you're not this criminal that people paint you out to be, right. But you also learn how to work with others that don't look like you, don't talk like you, don't dress like you. And that is extremely important. Was that your experience as well in the Army?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's just, you really would have to be in the Army to really understand it. But it was like, and I hate when people try to compare military to the police here in America. It's different. Everything is accountable for it. The things that they do, like when they shooting the black people, they're not getting away with that in the military. You're gonna get a court martial. You're gonna go to Leavenworth. So hold on one second. Give me one second. I got somebody at my door. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back.
No problem. I'm gonna talk about that. So he brought up a good point. The thing is, in the military, you have a lot of camaraderie amongst other men, which is another benefit. That's what I really liked about the military as well. So you're not going to go around in the military. I mean, you might see it here and there, but for the most part, people help each other in the military. There's a community there, and that community can help you thrive. So you make the most out of your military career. That's the only place I've noticed that you can make the most out of your job. In the corporate environment that I'm in right now, a lot of times you could try, and you'll see lazy guys get promoted. You'll see managers that don't do anything. You'll see them screw up projects, and then you might get blamed for it. I noticed that in the military, people act more on integrity. Not always, but for the most part, they do, and that can really help you in life. Okay, so we're still gone. Okay, so I wanted to also talk about military travel. When you're in the military, this is what you want to do. You scored high in the ASVAB. You got a good job. You're looking at your educational benefits, so you're going to get a degree before you get out. And while you're traveling, you want to pick a career field that has a lot of bases that you can travel to. You want to pick like Spain, Germany, Hawaii. You want to pick
Germany.
Yeah, Germany's great. But yeah, you want to pick a career field that will allow you to travel to all these places overseas. So the guy that I talked about earlier, who had a son that signed up for security analyst or something like that.
Yeah.
his bases that he could pick. He pretty much got his pick of every place in domestic U.S. and overseas. That's key, and that is what you want to do.
Yeah, you want to definitely get overseas.
Yeah.
That's important.
Now, why overseas? Now, why do you like Germany?
You know what? I think if it wasn't for the German white people, I probably would have, and not to generalize, but I probably would think that white people like seriously just hated us everywhere. It was just a total opposite of how being here, being a black man here versus being a black man in Germany. And I can explain it like this. I remember I had the pleasure of being stationed in Savannah at my first duty station, and I had my little uniform all starched up, and my boots was shining, and I'm feeling like, you know what? First time I'm not a nigga. I'm like, I'm not a nigga. Like white people, they gonna see me. I'm a soldier. I'm not a nigga. You know what I'm saying? So I'm standing in doorway in the mall, and I'm holding the door open for this older white lady. She had like white hair. She comes to the door and she looks at me and she grabs her purse.
Now, hold on. Now, you were dressed in your entire military uniform, right?
I'm in my uniform.
So there was no way that she could, okay. There's no way she could mistake you for some criminal, right?
Yeah, no way. I'm in my BDUs. Okay. No way she could get it twisted, man. And she just clutched her purse and looked at me like I was the lowest thing on the face of the earth, man. And I remember calling my mom and being like real emotional, man. I was like, yo, no matter what you do, whatever I do, it was at that moment that I realized that, like, yo, it's just gonna be some people here that just don't, just no matter what, it's just F y'all.
So, see, and that's the thing. And that's the thing that I believe that men need to talk about. I mean, race is hard to talk about, but me and you talked about this before. I'm from the Caribbean, right? So when I came over to the United States, I'm thinking everyone healthy, right? And coming to that's not this. And then I remember feeling different because African Americans looked at me differently, and then white people looked at me differently as well. So I had a similar experience to you when I went overseas. Like, the thing is in the Caribbean, there's a few white people, right? But the people the white people that are there, they're nice, right? So you're thinking when you come to the United States, you're thinking, oh, everyone's like that. That's why people always say, well, people in the Caribbean and Africans, you don't have that problem. What? How come you don't have that attitude? It's because our experiences are different. So we come over here, we're thinking that everyone's like that. The guy's calling you the N-word and stuff. You're like, oh, he must be, he's just joking around. And then similar to what you were saying, I went overseas. I met like British cats that were cool, white guys, German. I met this one doctor from Denmark. We're hanging out in Brazil. So you realize that it's like a culture thing in America. It's not really.
Yeah, you got to get out of here. You get out of here.
Yeah.
All right. You'll feel, when you get out of here, you'll feel a little bit better about society and the world, man. You'll be like, okay, it's not just, I'm not crazy. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, and that's the thing that people need to realize. And that's why I think that people shouldn't be, when we talk about race, I'm not here to, beat down anybody, all that stuff. Because once you talk about it, you understand where a person's coming from, that can really help you out. So,
yeah. Listen, I have, and you're not just talking out, when you've been around the world, like, and not to brag or anything like that, but when you're not just talking out your ass about stuff. Like, you know what I mean? You're not just talking about what you think. You're talking about things that you've experienced. So I can say, hey, you know what? That's a beautiful woman. Yeah, that's like on a world level. Like, when I look at women, like, I'm spoiled. You know what I'm saying? I've been to places that have the most beautiful women in the world. Like, the thing about America is that we have a lot of variety, but it's like that. I don't want to objectify women because I don't want nobody to come in here. But it's just me comparing. I don't want to objectify women, but
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because
Yeah.
that's important. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing in the military when you travel. Well, I'll give an example. There was a guy. He was American. You know, he traveled over to Germany,
Yeah.
and up at that point, he only dated American women, so he didn't
Yeah.
know any different. Then he met a woman from Eritrea, and she was beautiful. And come to find out, there's a lot of Eritreans that go to Germany and live, and she was so nice. She was so submissive.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
she was family orientated,
Yeah.
and he loved it.
Yeah.
But he didn't know, having just been in America, he didn't know that women like that existed outside of. Now, I'm
Yeah.
still and I'm still anti-marriage myself, but you know,
You know what? It's a outside of America is a patriarchal society, man. World in a lot of these different countries. That's not too far from America. It's like a patriarchal society. So, you know what I mean? I think that, you know, America is not patriarchal, especially
oh no,
African
oh,
American. African American society is matriarchal. You know, you can't dispute that. So, you know, you don't have that patriarchal type of males being those. That that leads, in my opinion, my humble opinion, less alpha male being produced from African Americans because you don't have it's not a patriarchal society. So you know, but you know, that's a whole nother discussion, man. But like,
yeah. I mean, I'll touch on that a little bit because that's another thing. Coming from the Caribbean, um, it's a patriarchal
yeah,
society. So when you come over here and you have people in the African American society that look like the people in the Caribbean, but they're like out of pocket. The woman's yelling
yeah,
and screaming at you, and you know she just doesn't want to shut up. Basically, you're like, what the? I mean, you know, it's kind of, and then you have men that take up for this type of, I would say, um, take up for the the type of behavior that they display. You're like, why are you doing that? When then you can just go right back to St. Kitts, St. Martin, Trinidad, and the men don't act like that. They don't tolerate that type of behavior.
yeah. You don't. They don't know. A lot of people. A lot of men don't know any better. You know what I mean? They don't. They haven't been exposed to exposed to the world. You know what I mean? So you're gonna get you know you're gonna get that type of they're gonna take that. You know what I mean? Because if you're a brother, if you're a person that says, hey, I have to have me a wife. I have to, if you are one of those type of brothers that feels that way, then and you're a brother that's like, okay, I'm gonna take, I wanna be responsible and take care of all the bills. You
Mm-hmm.
you definitely should go get you a woman that knows how to play that role. You know what I'm saying? So that will come from that will come from societies like um, cultures down from like in the Caribbean and cultures in like Africa, Asian cultures and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Indian cultures. You know, you're gonna get women that are not you know that understand that role they want to play in those type of relationships. I would go invest in those type of women, or because you're gonna bump heads. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly. I mean, if you have to, like, for me, I mean, marriage, nah, man, I'm good. But if you have to, absolutely have to, you're gonna have to travel. Which is again, it's a good thing while you're in the military and you're traveling. Once you travel outside the military, I mean, use the military to travel, you're going to see different cultures, and you're gonna find the culture that relates to you best. You know.
right. I mean, just you got to get out there and experience. How can you, like I always say, I say to guys that's never been, out of America, and they tell a woman, like your man told you that my man, he said I'm the most beautiful woman he ever met in his life. I said I'm the most beautiful woman in the world. How does he know that? How does he know that you're the most beautiful woman in the world if he hasn't been in these places in the world, man? There's some beautiful women, man. Intelligent women, like funny women. You got to get out, and it's just not just women, just people. Just get out and see the world. It's important, and you can take advantage of being in the military and doing it for free. You know what I mean? Because it gets expensive when you're not in the military.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Man, I remember I had one sergeant. He was a master sergeant, which I always tell guys that's what you want to aspire to be, E8, E9, if you're not an officer.
Mm-hmm.
Become an E8 and E9 and retire. This guy went to Italy. He lived in Italy. He lived in Germany. He lived in Hawaii. He lived everywhere. And he was just about to retire. So he got New Mexico. And he was just telling me about his life. He said he actually got a Article 15, which he got in trouble when he was younger. And he could have gotten out, but he stayed in.
Right.
He stayed in. He changed his behavior, and he was rewarded for it. He got to travel all over the world, and he said that he didn't regret one bit of it.
No. It's a good, but it's not. You know what? It's not for everybody. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, sure.
Like I was gonna say in the beginning of the talk, if I had a kid that just was like a knucklehead that was just like terrible, and he needed some discipline.
Yeah.
He was going to end up killing somebody or getting himself killed.
Mm-hmm.
I would send him into the Marines because I know the Marines are the ultimate brainwash. You know what I mean? They can break you. They'll break you.
Yeah, the Marines will definitely break you if you're that type of guy.
So they'll break. That's perfect for those type of people that have attitude problems.
Yep.
They can't get it together.
Yep.
I would send him to the island too. I wouldn't want him to go out west. I would make sure that he goes to the island. Yeah, he'll be all right. He'll be all right.
Yeah.
And the army a little bit. But the army, but the shit's getting soft now, man. They got
true.
Just soft. Shit's getting soft now. So, if discipline wise, I send him to the Marines. But it's a good kid. It just if it's a good kid, if it's a kid that like I really fool with, I'm gonna give him the blueprint. Like, look, man, he doesn't have a scholarship, a full ride. Now, if you got a full ride, academic, whatever it may be, to college, then you do not really need to be fooling with the military. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't say that necessarily.
I mean, I would because like you don't really want to take. I mean, with what's going on right now, who we got, I mean, people still getting plucked off. You know what I mean? It's still shit going on. And I mean, like, I would encourage them to go in, but like, if you don't have to, you got an academic scholarship. You got an academic scholarship, and you say you're an engineer or you're a chemist or something. You got an academic scholarship, and you can graduate and go work for Google or something. You know what I mean? Like, there's no need.
I can see it, but here's the problem. This is because this is what I've noticed. I actually agree with you. I agree with you. But this is what I know some of the engineers I work with. I actually work close to Google. I've been to Boeing, Lockheed, General Atomics. What's the other ones? Basically, all those major companies, right? Northrop Grumman. So what I see with a lot of engineers now, if you get a full ride, that's cool. But what they do is they stick you in a cubicle. You're doing engineering work, and a lot of guys, they don't end up saving the money that they spend. Of course, they'll buy a nice house, they'll buy a nice car, whatever. What it's that pension that gives them the ability. Like Lockheed has one, I believe. I think they haven't got rid of it. It's that pension that you want. You want that money coming in monthly that frees you from working in corporate doldrum for the rest of your life. That's what I noticed with a lot of engineers. That's where they get trapped. So that's why I always say, if you're becoming an engineer, just become an engineer in the military, in the Air Force, get that kickback job, and then 20 years, you're good. You're golden. And then you can start an online business with your engineering degree. You say, look, I was an officer in the military, in the Air Force, blah, blah, blah. People will hire you. And then in location independent business with that engineering degree, and then you can just travel the world. Even more, because you already knocked it out within the first 20 years. But now you can go, work from Denmark or Thailand or something,
Right, you're right, exactly, and
I agree with
I think that's extremely important that you get out here and see the world and go to different places, and to do it on somebody else's dime. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any more sense, right?
That is, but that's a good segue into the next question. So, leadership in the military, because what we're seeing with a lot of these young men is that a lot of the young men are becoming feminized. I mean, They're not learning in anything about being a man in the corporate environment. As a matter of fact, it's becoming more of this Me Too, all this nonsense. So when you're in the military, um, how would someone go about becoming a good leader in the military by taking advantage of those leadership? They have leadership courses that you can take.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing the military was big on. Is always self improvement and education. You'll find opportunities to educate yourself. There's different schools that you can apply and actually go to. There's different things. I mean, if you want to test your physical and your mental, there's things like um, airborne. There's things. I mean, this is for the army. It's like airborne. There's Ranger School. There's SF. If you want to test your mental, I think that going through stuff like that, it's going to definitely give you the mentality. There's absolutely nothing that you can't do out here. You know what I mean? So when you go to programs and schools like that, but just I mean, it's you. It's I'm trying to think, man. It's just so many opportunities.
Well, I mean, that airborne thing, because I heard this
Yeah.
before. I think David Goggles, he was, I think it's, what's his name? David. Anyway, he was a Navy SEAL or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was talking about that, developing this mindset that there's nothing that you can't do.
Yeah.
And you said that in the Army, airborne in the Army.
Yeah. I mean, that's airborne like when you're going through like special forces and you going to ranger school and stuff like that, and you make it through that. I mean, like you get that sense. When I came out of basic training, I had to push myself. Like I never thought that I would be doing the things that I was doing, running for long periods of distances, and
Yeah.
living out in the woods for like weeks, man, months. I never thought I would be capable of doing that. But then you just get your mind prepared, and you go ahead and do it, and then you take that with you. Like it's a part of you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, now I know I can take it to this level. I can take it to that level.
Yeah, that's what's so funny about the military. Even though people rag on the Air Force and they say, "Oh, you got it easy," I remember when I was in, man, there was this talks about changing your perception, man. There was this dude, man. I was getting ready to flunk out of my tech school, man, and I didn't think I could do it or whatever. There was this white guy, man, real cool guy, he was our teacher, and he came to me and he said, "Look, man, I know you can do this. I don't know what's going on. I know you can. I mean, you know the material. You can pass this. This is nothing." And this guy really inspired me, man, to dig and pass.
Yeah,
And,
I think for me, it was like I'm an example type dude. So like if I see you do it, if I see whoever my leader is or whoever to me, if you out there getting dirty, then I'm like, okay, bet. Then I have no choice. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get out here. Okay, bet. I leading by example. You know what I'm saying? So like, it was like important for me to see. You couldn't just tell me. You know what I mean? But like, it was some like this is like back when I was in, man, I can't speak for now, but back when I was in, it was like some real hard nosed cats.
yeah.
These are like cats that had been in Desert Storm veterans that was like my old heads. You know what I mean? So, and they had their old heads was Vietnam veterans. So it was like serious. This was back when like the army was like serious. Like
Yeah.
I came in on the tail end of them of NCO still putting their hands on you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I came in on the very tail end of that. You know what I'm saying? Like it was still, they were still taking their ranks off their uniforms and asking you to go behind the shed type shit. I like real shit, like because it would be like they ain't no time to be writing up.
Hey, and see,
like, all right, man, what's up? You got a problem? What's up? It was like that, and I was like,
well, let me interject.
That made me get in line, like, cause these were some big ass cats from Alabama, like 6'4", 250, solid ass. Taking their rank, or they might be like an E7, I'm an E2. And, don't let this rank get. I'm telling you, man. I came in on the tail end of that. Like they were still trying to fight us.
Well, see, here's the thing. When I was in the Air Force, believe it or not, there were people like that as well. But see, here's the thing. In life, as a man, because we talk about MGTOW, men going their own way. You have to. There are consequences for your actions. It seems like now we're living in a society where sometimes that's not the case. It's like guys are like willy-nilly. You know what I mean? Like they just do whatever, man. They're like super feminized. Whereas back in your day or whatever, there were consequences, man. Like you get out of pocket, then you go behind the shed, you
Yeah,
handle it like a man, and then there you go.
it was definitely societal norms. Now there's no norms anymore. You got morals and norms, values. Those things are kind of like out the window now. But hey,
Exactly.
but
Well,
you know what? If you're a single, because this is the thing that people don't understand. If you're a single guy and you like women,
mm-hmm.
it's a good time to be like a man's man. You know what I'm saying? Because no matter what they're seeing on television, no matter what they're hearing in the music, no matter what they're seeing, nature is telling them that they want a man's man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Because you're putting off different scents when you're around them. You feel me? So, it's a good time to be a man's man. It's all right, man. So I always say, man, it's a mathematical game, man. There's a lot more women than there are men. If there's less men that are interested in women, that makes my chances of doing what I want to do in this life tremendous. You know what I'm saying? Like I always try to figure out. I'm not the prettiest brother in the world, man, but I be saying to myself, how in the hell do I keep coming up with these beautiful women? Like I've been with some beautiful women, man. Like here in America, like I've been with some beautiful women, man. I can't figure, but I know why. It's because ain't no brothers out here. You know what I'm saying? Everybody locked up, or they don't want to be with women, or they too feminine, or what I mean. So hey, man, it's making my numbers increase. So I'm not mad, man.
But see,
I'm not gonna.
I mean, to swing it back to the military again, that's the one thing you definitely got to watch out for. I made a video about that. Now, when you're in the military, you're going to learn all these things about being a real man. You're going to learn how to be more capable. You're going to be self-sufficient. You're going to learn how to lead up. And that's going to make, like, women are drawn to that. And one of the biggest mistakes I've seen men make, they're doing good in the military career. They got 10 years in. They got 10 more to retire. They end up getting some woman pregnant, or they end up getting married because or getting out because a woman says, I'm afraid that you're going to die or something like that. Or they get married and the woman like takes them for all their work. So man, that's the thing. Be a man, be capable, be self-sufficient, do all that stuff, but do not let some woman and kids throw you off your path, because
oh man, yeah, I think
so many men fall victim
to that. I definitely would have been a lot farther along in life had I not stuck to my goals and completed my goals, and then went out looking for romance, someone that I wanted to be with. You know what I'm saying? Because just like when if you're getting invested into a relationship and you're giving up a part of yourself, you know what I'm saying? So you haven't found yourself or done everything that you wanted to do for yourself, then you're gonna have a hard time in that relationship, and that's vice versa. That can be her as well. So I think that it's important that you travel the world and do different things like that, and then after you figure your niche in life and what you want to do and what you want, how your plan is, and that's what you want to do, then by all means. But I've seen a lot of young brothers getting, I mean, come on, man, you're 19 or 20 years old, in the military, getting married. You're way too young to be getting married. You know what I'm saying? So like, come on, man. So it's like, you know.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, and that's why I preach to these young guys. Like, for example, there was this young guy, and I just want to, show the dichotomy between the corporate world and the military. So he was in the Army, right?
Yeah.
He got out. He went to the Guard.
Right.
Young African American guy, So he's working at the job, and he gets 3 managers come to him and kind of like they're crowding him and they're asking him all these questions, basically trying to demoralize the guy. And so he comes to me and I ask him, I'm like, hey man, what's going on? And he's like, he basically, yeah, they ganged up on the guy. And I said, dude, what are you doing? I was like, you know what, you should go into the Air Force. He was like, yeah, you know, I'm actually about to finish my degree. I'm going to be doing like security analyst type thing, what I was talking about before. I was like, oh, that's perfect. And I told him, I said, hey man, you need to go back in the Air Force. This is what you need to do, A, B, and C. And now he's going back in the Air Force. He's going to retire at 38 with that network analyst degree or whatever. So he is going to be sitting pretty, right?
Yeah.
But see, and I say that to say this. Had he stayed in the corporate environment, sure, he would have got that degree. Sure, he would have been making decent money. But he would have always had to deal with that harassment that happened to him, you know, in that corporate environment. Whereas now he's going to go into the military. They're going to, you know, you're going to become self-sufficient, right? Like we talked about, you're going to become responsible, become a leader of men. And by the time he's going to retire at 38, he's going to have his head on his shoulders straight. And if he doesn't allow these other relationships to come and pull him down, he can make a good decision once he gets out. He'll be mature. And if he wants to get with a woman, then he'll know exactly what he wants because he already game planned earlier in life.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, is just setting yourself up. It's like you got to look at like 5 years ahead, but you got to always, you know, look at like 20. Well, basically, you know, you try. You know, we all act like we're not going to die, man. So we don't want to look too far ahead. But I'm telling you, you know, you gotta look at your end game, man. Do you want to be working at 60? Do you want to be working at 50? Me personally, I don't want to be working at 50. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. I mean, you figure things out in life. So, you know, I figured out what I want out of life, man, and what's important to me in life. And, you know, I think I've set it up enough where, you know, I'll be able to take care of myself financially in my retirement. So, I'm looking at 45 is the max that I want to work. You know what I'm saying? And I want to take off at 45 and see if I can, you know, survive off what I got coming in at 45. And then, you know, see if I can do it for 5 years. And if I come back and I want to finish out 10 more years with the government, that'll be enough time to retire. I'll just come out and work from 50 to 60. And then, you know, collect the Social Security at 62. And then probably just fade to black where I was at before. You know what I'm saying? Just go down there as like an OG now. Like I'm down here now and just chilling. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing a lot of chilling, but it's still cats at 62. It's overseas, man. Ex-military cats kicking, still kicking. Because like I'm telling you, it puts miles on you, man. When you're down there close to the equator and you're getting that sun. You eating them natural foods and fruits and stuff, man. It's putting miles on you, man. You know what I mean? So you see cats too. I'll be like, yo, how old are you, man? Like, I'm 68. Yo, like, what? You 68? I'm 62, 68 down there just acting a fool, man.
Yep. I see.
I'm like, yo, you better slow down when you hurt yourself out here, old school.
Yeah, I met a lot of those guys. But see, that brings me to the last question. VA disability benefits. And the reason why I want to ask you about this is because like me, you know, sometimes you get hurt in the military and you don't want to be seen as a punk, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you're like, I'm not going to take advantage of my VA disability. I'm a real man.
I got partners now. I'm gonna give you I'm not gonna tell you what my rating is. My rating is definitely high. And my rating is high because whenever I was in the military, and if I didn't feel like going to work and I had an ache or pain, I went to sick call. I endured all the talk, and I had NCOs that hated me. They would call me names, and see how bad it got. And anybody that served with me, it got so bad they tried to move the sick call hours back half an hour. You had to show up at like 5 instead of 5:30 to get the sick call slip. I was pulling up with the with the coffee, like, what's happening? Let me get my sick call slip. You know what I'm saying? I was going, so I had nothing but incidents in my medical records. So,
Mm-hmm.
so when I went to go put my disability claim in, and at this point I'm breaking down. My body's breaking down from all that running on concrete.
Well, hold on. Let me ask you this:
Yeah.
why, like, how come you? Because, like I said, you say you don't want to be a punk, right? So, what
Oh,
made you get over that mindset? What made you say,
I,
you know what, I'm gonna?
I ain't give a fuck. I mean, can we curse? I don't want to disrespect the show.
Oh yeah, sure, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I didn't give a fuck what none of them motherfuckers was saying to me about going to sick call, because I didn't think that they were any better men than me. You know what I mean? I didn't recognize. I mean, come on, man. This the fucking military, man. It's not the cream of the crop of people that are in the military. You know what I'm saying? They're not. You're not. These are not like cats that, you know what I mean. They just regular cats talking shit that didn't want that. They had to go in the military, or they went in the military.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I wasn't gonna make a career out of it. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't gonna be in there forever, so they wouldn't be able to shit on me forever. I was like, I got 2 years left anyway, 3 years left anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out of here. You know what I mean? So I didn't care. You had to push
Oh,
through it.
okay,
You gotta push through it, man. And, you know what I mean? Especially if it's, listen, if it's something that's definitely wrong with you, you need to get that annotated. You know what I mean? So
So what do you tell the guys that they don't want to do it? Right? They're like, I don't want.
you're gonna put yourself in the end. If you don't do it, you gotta do it. You know what I mean? Even if you just go one time, you gotta do it. You know what I'm saying? If you want to take leave and then go on while you on leave, you want to go while you on leave, then you got to do it, because it's going to help you out in the long run. Because your body's going to break down as soon as you get out. Your body's going to break down, and then you're not going to be able to move around as much as you should be moving at your age. So you need to be compensated for that, because you can't do the job that you were doing before. That's the whole premise of it. And this also makes a difference in the type of educational benefits you'll get and
Okay.
job placement assistance. We see, not only are you, when you become a disabled veteran, you go from getting a 5-point preference with HR to a 10-point preference with HR.
Really?
Yes, so your name goes to the top of all this. And if you get a Schedule A letter, I mean, but that's some things that we can get into a little later on. I can break down to you, man. But it's like, it's a big deal being a disabled American veteran. And then as far as like contracts, if you don't be a minority and a disabled American veteran. You know,
Oh,
because you got government, now you open yourself up to different government contracts.
well, let me ask you. Let me ask you this: what happened to the guys who didn't take your advice and who said, you know what, I'm not gonna try to get my
So
disability benefit? What happened to them?
they normally contact me, or they try to put in a claim, and then their claims get denied.
Oh,
The claims get denied because they didn't see any evidence of any incident of service. So once we don't see any evidence of incident of service, then there's nothing we can do. Unless you get like a buddy statement or something, but it's hard. It's very difficult.
man.
You know what I
So,
mean?
so basically, all right. Let's go back over. Okay, so you got your daughter. You say,
Mhm.
hey, you need to go on to the Air Force, score high on the ASVAB, 90 and above,
Right.
get that nice, easy kickback job that you can make a lot of money on the outside,
Yeah.
get that degree,
Yes.
travel all around the world,
Yes.
take advantage of the leadership courses that the military has to offer.
Absolutely.
Don't become feminized and a wuss.
No.
If you're a man, be a strong man. If you're a woman, be a strong woman. And if you get hurt, by God,
And
make sure you get your disability benefits.
make sure you get it and it's yes, absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. And then steer clear of any bullshit. Like, just play by the rules, man. Keep your nose clean. I mean, like, you don't want to be getting any awful scenes. You don't want to be, you damn sure don't want to be getting no court martials, nothing like that. Just keep your nose clean, man. And sometimes you gotta humble yourself. That's the biggest thing about going into the military and the service, is humbling yourself. Is knowing that the person that may be giving you some orders or telling you something, yeah, for all it's in the person's purposes, they may be a sucker, they may be a chump, they may be a whatever. But you got to look at it like this is just a game that you got to play, and the end game is when you get out, you make it out. God bless you. You get your full benefits, and you go live your life at a very young age. That a lot of people got to work 30, 45 years to build up a pension. That still not might not even be as high as yours if you play your cards right. So, hey, man, put it like this. I'll put myself in a position right now. I can walk away from my job and I'm still gonna be fine, and I can go get a home, and I can go rent a spot in a different country.
That's where you got to be.
I was in this position 5 years ago. I was in this position to
Well,
walk
see,
to
that's
walk.
what's so good.
Yeah.
That's what's so good about you, man.
Been working. I just didn't know no better, but
Yeah.
knowledge. I'm getting more knowledge now, and now I'm looking at different economies, and I'm saying to myself, okay, maybe in this economy I'm doing all right. In this economy I'm doing great.
Yeah.
So,
see, that's what's so good about you, man. Like I was saying before, you like to help people, and that's that military thing, that military bearing that comes back. A lot of military guys I noticed, veterans, guys that are still in the military, they like to help other men, and that's what's so good about you. So I appreciate you,
yeah, man,
tonight and talking about the benefits of the military, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem at all, man. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. I have some unexpected guests, house guests that popped up, with some people that came in from out of town, man. So, if y'all need me for anything else, got any other questions, please let me know. And if anybody hits you with any questions, if anybody needs any help, what I'm saying, I do have also, what I mean, I'm gonna help you. I don't care. Like I've helped skinheads before, but it was it was during work hours. But I've helped, I've helped, that's the craziest shit about working at the VA. You gotta help everybody, bro. So you want me to tell you? I'm gonna tell you a funny story before you. This is a great story.
Okay.
Before we sign off, because I gotta go entertain because my people are getting loud in my house.
Yeah.
I helped a veteran that had a Confederate flag tattooed on his neck. So for all intents and purposes, this guy was a straight up racist. He had a couple other racist tattoos.
Okay.
Helped this veteran get 100%.
Wow.
When this dude sees me, he calls me brother. He sees me out in the community in the mall. Hey, yo, you need anything, let me know, brother. People be looking at me like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? Well, it fucks people up because this racist looking ass biker white because I tightened him up with that bread, he's very appreciative, man. So that lets you know, man, I don't give a fuck who you are, man. That green will oversee the green in the position you put people in will supersede hate, man. You know what I'm saying? It's the root to a lot of hate, but it also can bring people together, man. This dude, man, he probably goes home and says nigger 1,000 times. When he sees me, he shows me nothing but the utmost respect and love, man, because I put him in position to win. So if anybody needs any help, man, I'm down to help anybody. So I'm gonna help somebody that's calling me nigger. I'm gonna definitely help my brothers. So gotta make sure y'all reach out, and if you need anything, just get in contact with this brother right here. He'll definitely get in contact with me.
No problem. And that's what it's about. It's a brotherhood. And at the end of the day, it's a brotherhood. We really need to, get past all that nonsense and really move society in a direction that benefits men as we see that men are under attack right now. But yeah, that's the perfect, that's the perfect way to end the broadcast. So I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man, no problem, brother. I'll talk to y'all next time, man. I'm out. I don't know, I don't know how to sign out of this thing, man. So I'm gonna let you sign me out, man. I'm gonna run upstairs before I get cursed out.
All right, no problem. Hey, man, I'll talk to you later, man.
All right, bro.
All right.